Hello, everyone, and then welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Obehi and the Law, and I promised, and I'm going to make do my promise. I said I was going to talk about the 42-page written address as submitted by the second and third respondents in the person of Tinubu and Shetima. And the lawyer in charge of that team is Wole Olanipekun-san. And I don't know. I hate to say this, but I think that particular written address is filled with a lot of points hinged on technicalities. Now, my question is, do we sacrifice justice and good governance and good policies and great precedents on the altar of technicalities? Because in that report, Olanipekun was not even attacking the veracity or the validity of the witnesses' statements on oath. All he went after was just technicalities, and some of these technicalities were not supported with purported evidence or credible evidence that would help the case of the respondents. I have my own opinion. In fact, being a senior lawyer, this is sort of disappointing. I mean, should we even drink right now? Because, like, I feel bad because when we do these things, these are culminating to contempt of court and should not be taken lightly. The requisite justice should be done. It should not be taken as a slap in the wrist. I'm talking too much. There's a lot of work to do, a lot of analysis to be given, and I have my own legal opinion too. So click on that link and let's get talking. Back to my channel. It is still me, Obehi and the Law. If you are just joining me, thank you so much. It is Obehi and the Law. And if you've been here before, it is still me, Obehi and the Law. Thank you so much for your support, your comments, and your likes, and of course your subscription. Please subscribe. Now, I said I was going to talk about the 42-page written address presented by the second and third respondents in the person of Tinubu and Shetima, and the legal team was headed by Wole Olanipekun-san. So now, I said I'm going to talk about it in parts. So I'll just talk about some of them and then go into details in another video. So watch out for that. No. So now, first of all, I'll talk about the legislature. They were trying to rely on some of the provisions of the law. For example, Section 50 of the Electoral Act 2022, Section 60 of the Electoral Act 2022, the regulations 48 sub A and B of the INEC guidelines. And they were saying that IREV is not important. The transmission is not necessary. That the requisite EC8As, which is the results that were gotten from the polling units, it's not compulsory that it would be transmitted real time to IREV. And they forget that there is the law of Estopel. The law of Estopel, as provided for in the Evidence Act, which says that he who asserts must prove. You know, when you assert something, you cannot now go. And now the law stops you from going about to say something else. Remember that Chatham video where Mahmoud Yakub was actually telling the public that this is what we're going to do. The INEC chairman had addressed the public to say, trainings have been done, everything has been done. And then now you're coming here to say it's not important for the transmission or the transfer of that data or that information or the pictures or the snapped or scanned copies by beavers. It's not important for it to be transmitted on IREV. Like, why would you say that? We'll go into details of the act. I will definitely explain and why this is sounding really funny when there are overwhelming evidence to prove that they had stated earlier that the data would be transferred or transmitted onto IREV. Again, they equally stated that Tinubu had won 25% in 29 states and the FCT And I remember they had talked about the non-relevance of the 25% in the FCT because it's not mandatory. And they equally stated that, oh, even if he had 18.99%, it's just 6.01% that is left. Like, why would you say that? If it was even 24.99%, I can kind of relate where you're saying, oh, it's just 0.01, not 6% is a lot. So I don't know why they did that, but like I said, I will touch on these two much later in another video. I don't want to overwhelm you because it's a lot. So now let's go over to the witnesses. That's really my major concern for this video. We had called about 6 witnesses. That's the Labour Party, rather. They had called 6 witnesses. So now back to the gist. Like I said, I'm going to talk about this in a way that I don't sound biased, because honestly speaking, guys, I was actually waiting for a bombshell that when you're looking at it, you're like, fine. I mean, I believe that, yes, maybe Labour's Party's mandate, it's been stolen, but these people, they have a point here. But I didn't really get that, to be fair. To be very honest with you, I didn't get that. Now, let me explain what I'm saying. So now for the witnesses, remember we had the lady from Amazon coming to testify. And so they said that, number one, she brought an ID card, which was not even signed. Now, for some companies, they do not sign it. And Amazon happens to be one of these companies that do not sign. So if the ID card was not signed, I expected them to get confirmation from AWS. Does this person work here? And in what capacity? And then secondly, they said the health report that she submitted, there was no author. And of course, you can't come in with a document that does not have an author. And I remember that she explained to them that this is within the public domain. Like, it's something that you can, it's just like IREV, the results on IREV. You can go there and see for yourself what has happened, the number of results that have been uploaded against what is expected. So it was really funny to hear them say that the report was not authored. And I remember she had explained in her testimony that these things are within the public coffers. You can actually go there and download a copy. And that the author of that document is Amazon Web Service, to be very specific. So I don't really know why they why they said that, because it was really funny to me. And then they said that her confirmation of employment was signed on the 19th of June, and she was to appear in court on the 20th of June, and that it was too sudden. Now, my question is it about the date that the employment letter was signed? Or there should be a confirmation that, does this person actually work with Amazon or not? You understand? Does this person work with Amazon? That should be the basic crux of the matter. That, okay, my lord, we have found out that this person was sacked from Amazon, this, or this person does not work here. Because it doesn't really matter if the document was signed on the 29th. Does she really work there? And they said her evidence should be disregarded because she's a member of Labour Party. Now, my question is this. You brought in Bamidele Michael Okweyemi to come and give testimony, or he's a member of APC. So this is a case of those who live in glass houses do not throw stones. Even if any other person in Amazon may have been able to come to court to testify, and they will still say same thing. So I don't really know why Olani, because at least when you're talking about this type of things and you're asserting that this person does not work there, you should be bringing an overwhelming evidence to counter. And that evidence should be, one, we had spoken to Amazon and this is their reply back by stating that this person does not work here. It's just like what happened in PDP's case where Tinubu had said, oh, I went to University of Chicago. And they wrote to the university to say, did this person actually attend? That's it. You're trying to get your evidence from there to puncture whatever testimony that has been given in court. Now, secondly, the mathematician, the professor who came to testify, and they stated that, why did he come in via subpoena? After all, he told the Honorable Court that he had finished his investigation on the 29th of March. So, and his evidence was not specifically pleaded. That's his own documents or his own testimony or him being a witness and the documents that he brought was not specifically pleaded, why did they bring him on subpoena? But I remember very well that the man had stated that he did not want to come to court. Remember the work of a subpoena. Even if it's a subpoena ad testificandum or a subpoena duces tecum, it is compelling you to either come and testify or to produce a particular document, respectively. Yeah. So now, if they had told him, hey, we need you to come to court, and he's saying, no, 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 no. So people are like that. I don't want to come to court. I only carried out this analysis and provided this forensic evidence because you said you needed it. But you telling me to come to court, I don't want to come to court. Now, they are going to force you. And the only way that they can compel you to come to court is if they issue a document subpoena. A document called subpoena to compel you to come to court and testify or to produce a particular document. Now, nothing again was said with respect to the authenticity of the document or the validity of the document that was submitted, because the professor had said that he had conducted his forensic evidence based on the available data on IREV. You understand? So now they could not puncture the validity. Now, don't forget what I said about the relevance of an evidence. We have passed the stage of admissibility because these are the two parts of the validity of an evidence. One, the admissibility of that evidence. And then number two, the relevance of that evidence. That is where we are. So if you're saying that that evidence is not relevant, what then is your proof? Because if you're not challenging the validity of what he presented in court as an expert witness, then you're telling the court that what he presented is true and is correct and that the court should go with it. Abi? So what are we saying? Okay, now let's move to the cyber security expert. Now they said something, they quoted a particular case, Ogini versus the state, and they had stated that that case, the court had held, it was a 2005 case, and they stated that the court held that the language of the court, the lingua franca of the court is English, and that he only submitted web links and encrypted languages. I remember very well that he had tried to explain to the court, but he is, a professional, and you definitely would be submitting evidence in that regard. And I'm sure the web links would provide concrete explanation of what those encryption or encrypted languages would mean. Encrypted languages, what they would mean. You understand what I'm trying to say or what I am saying? So now, if you're saying he's a professional and he did provide foundation and gave relevant explanation leading to why these codes are there, because he is a professional. But nothing was equally said to attack the relevance. Are these codes, are they relevant or important to the courts? The web links, are they important or necessary? If they are, then what are you saying? You have not been able to discredit the professionalism of the person who came to court to testify. Still, neither have you discredited or invalidated or proven to the court that this particular evidence is fraught with fraud. You have not been able to do that, and that it should be disregarded immediately. You keep saying that relevance is the bedrock of admissibility of an evidence, but you have not been able to prove that it is irrelevant. That's why I say I'm not sure what Leolani Bekun wrote this 42 pages. I'm sure maybe a senior lawyer sat somewhere, because they are making it really easy for LP to smash them in terms of the reply, to be fair. And then looking at the whole double nomination, I'll just say this briefly. Men, what then is the standard? Because in their case, they stated that the document was signed by Shetima for the VP and all of that, and it was signed on the 6th of July, and it was sent off to Tinubu, 6th of July. which is like the APC. But that document was not received by INEC until 15th of July. And on the 14th of July, he was already declared a vice president. He had not revoked the senatorial candidacy that was given to him. And the truth is, until that particular document is received by INEC, it should not. It's just like when you are serving a particular person in court. Now, service is not deemed to have been done or to have been complete until it is received by the respondent. If you're serving court processes, the bailiff would ensure that proper service has been done as prescribed by the court of law. Not when you sit in your house to sign. If not, a lot of discrepancies will arise from this. If a precedent is set and that precedent is in contravention of the provision of the law, my guy, forget about it. It's not going to end well. I'm not joking. I'm being really truthful here, guys. So I don't really know why they would say that. And then looking at section 134 sub 3, where they talked about majority. Now, what is majority? When you score majority in the state, they stated that the next person that should have been talking about majority, contending it, is Atiku, because Atiku had scored majority in 19 states. That's not true. Majority means more than 50%. For example, if we have 1 million people in a particular state, if you say this person had majority, that means this person had more than 500,000 of these people's votes. For example, let's assume APC. That simply means APC has got more than 500,000. Or even 5, because the rest people will definitely not be getting up to 500,000 anymore. So that's majority. But that did not happen with Atiku. And then they equally stated in section 134 sub 1b that he was supposed to have joined Atiku as one of the respondents. He's not contending the second position. Peter Obi is actually contending the position you're in as the president of Nigeria. And the fact that he already had joined a principal person, INEC, that's more than enough. And INEC is expected to prove that, okay, it's not going to be easy, because, to be honest, I hate to say this, but the case is really looking bad. And the fact that you are just telling the court to disregard without providing concrete evidence, I see it as contempt of court. You are unable to provide sufficient evidence to discredit the validity of the evidence as put forward by these witnesses. And you're asking the court to disregard. That's contempt of court. And like I said earlier, it should not be taken as a slap in the wrist. The requisite rule of law should take its due course. But this is where we are, fam. This is where we are. But anyway, I'm not bothered. I'm not sad. I just laugh because, I mean, it's funny to me. But yeah. It's funny, but I mean, we move. So what do you think? This is just part one. Like I said, I will talk more on others, but continue to pray for Nigeria. Continue to pray. We're still waiting for the written addresses from the other two respondents, INEC and APC. Or is APC going to rely on the submission of the second and third respondents, because they had equally relied on their submission and they even closed their case without opening it? So anything is possible here, but they should know this country is no longer a joke. If it used to be a joke to them, people are rising. There's a revolution. All right, I didn't want this video to be too long, but thank you so much. Let me hear your views. Guys, say something. What do you think about the written address? With what I have said, just a rough sketch of what I have said. What do you think? All right, have a wonderful evening. Bye from me.